let's get into it, eh? We'll start on this side.
Actually, just one more thing before you watch this video. And I realised that I said bits and bobs way too many times than anyone should say. So I want you guys in the comments to tell me how many times I said bits and bobs, and let us know in the comments. It's a ridiculous amount of times. Anyway, back to Nathan.
All right. First things first is the fridge slide. We've actually converted it into kind of extend our outdoor cooking area, the barbecue. Coffee machine for Jade because she loves her barista made coffees, but you do have this little section at the back here that is a good storage box, and we've actually got our air fryer, our sandwich press, a few bits and bobs that we use for the coffee machine stored in here. And it's kind of a two-part box. There's a section at the top that's a drawer that moves backwards and it reveals the box beneath. Now, because this was a fridge slide, it's primarily set up with 12-volt outlets, an Anderson plug and a cigarette socket. Now, just for your reference, I've actually tested those to see how many amps that you can run off them, meaning what types of appliances you can run. It won't draw anything more than 10 amps and it will trip a fuse because we've tried to put our 12-volt sandwich press and air fryer into it and it trips. So we're gonna have to set something up separately for that, but that's another video. For the sake of this video, if the fridge inside the van is enough, or maybe you're like us and you've got a fridge in the back of your four-wheel drive as well to give you a bit more fridge space, maybe this doesn't have to be a fridge slide and you can kind of make it your own as well. What we've done is made it really good for cooking outdoors when we want to cook our steaks, or we want to make even pizzas in this, because the cooking over there, it's quite small and compact, which is great, but it doesn't allow you to kind of cook enough, is what we found. So that's how we've set this up. So maybe there's a bit of an idea for you of how to set up the fridge slide. So the one thing I didn't mention over here before is with the coffee machine, we're actually just keeping it that simple, that we're running an extension lead from this outlet on the side of the van here, above the pantry, underneath the stairs, and over to that fridge slide that we talked about earlier, by the way. This pantry is pretty self-explanatory. On this side, you'll see you've got this kind of spice rack section that folds in and out, which is awesome. I quite like that. There was another one of those on this side as well, hinging from this side here, but we took that out to allow us to be able to put some more bigger bottles and stuff in there, like the oil and a bit of cordial and even some of the outdoor sprays that we need while we're out and about here, so they're easy to access. And this center bit is actually a drawer that comes in and out if you need to get access to the back. In truth, I haven't really found that to be a problem. It's been pretty easy to reach in and grab, but you do you, right? There's not too much more to speak about here. That's pretty self-explanatory. Let's move around here. So you'll see that this is actually like two drawers in one that kind of lock together to make one big drawer to fold away. It's kind of a pantry, but we're effectively using it for two reasons. One is our pantry vegetables, onions, potatoes go in here. We've found that to be the best spot for them, really. And up here is just some other utensils, pots, pans, cheese grater. But again, if you find this space to work better for something else, again, you do you. But that's how it goes together. You have the clip on the left, which locks them together. Then you have a clip on the right, which locks it away. There isn't a great deal of space in there, but the point of this van for us was to kind of simplify, and we love it for that reason. One thing to take note of though, is in the back there, the drawers for clothes that are underneath the bottom bunk are in the same compartment as this. So putting anything that may create too much of a terrible smell or anything like that might be something to be mindful of. We haven't found too much of an issue with onions and potatoes, like the smell leaching into clothes or anything like that, but just, you know, use some common sense there and don't put anything that might leave a stench on the clothes. Next part is outdoor kitchen. Stainless steel, Dometic, twin burner, sink, drawer for all your cutlery. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to walk you through that, but this section here isn't really a drawer, but it is a section where you can store the gas line and the grey water hose for the sink and the burner. This gas line here, there is actually a bayonet right here on the back of the van. You just swing that around, pop her in, now you got gas. And all of that's plumbed from the gas bottles that are inside the toolbox up the front of the van. Now, if we shut these, you can see that we have our pans, pots, even some mixing bowls, chopping boards, and even these bad boys. I'm actually not sure what you call these, but they're just like the removable handle for the pots and pans. Just helps to be able to store these so you don't have a handle that's in a dicky spot, you know? You can put these in nice and easy. That stays there for convenience. And that's pretty much it. Very, very, very minimal is how we have it. But for us, it's the perfect spot for all that stuff. And like I said before, that's your gas bayonet fitting right there for your outdoor kitchen. Now, moving around to the back, what you see is what you get, really. Obviously, this is an addition, bin bag, a little bit of storage here, but it really is as simple as 2 jerry can holders and the rear spare tire. And you can kind of use little sections of this. We use it for our little doorstep mat. That kind of tucks in there nice and neat. Haven't had to Oki strap that in. That stays in there really well. And even just here, I always keep a couple of microfibers. I just find that that's handy when you might have something dirty on your hands. You come to the bin with some eggs or something and you can quickly, you know, so you don't have to waste water when you're off grid. That can come in handy too, just as a little tip. There's not really much more to speak on, other than the fact that if you do have recovery tracks, this makes for a really nice, easy solution to store them away. You strap your bin bag on there and you can slide these in the back. They have stayed nice and tight. But one thing that I am mindful of when we're hitting really rough tracks, just in case these want to rattle loose, is I Oki strap through these holes here, and I actually strap it back to the mount itself. So on this side, we don't actually have that much storage other than a tunnel boot. But for the sake of it, while I'm here, this rear hatch opens up to your cassette to be able to pull your toilet out, take it to the dump point. Super simple, clips into place. This here is actually an outdoor shower. It's just a little niche that's behind this door, and you just have the shower setup that you can have over here. You can actually set up a screen here if you want that, and you actually have a light here too, which is cool. Over here is a few outlets. We don't need to worry about that. But then we have the tunnel boot, which is actually quite a decent size. It's right underneath the master bed, and there's a little gate on the side here that gets you access to the pump and the hot water system. So as you can see, it's actually pretty big, right? We get 2 chairs, the folding table, a camp oven, our big 400-watt solar blanket from iTech World, also 2 hose bags, extension lead goes in here, and to be honest, there's even some room for some other stuff too. So if you have 2 more chairs, for example, you'll easily fit all the stuff that you actually need into this tunnel boot. Now, the only other thing is the toolboxes up the front of the van. Now, this one up the top here, it's ideal to keep things that are really light and long, ideally, because that's what it is. It's just one big, long, kind of rectangular prism. We use that for the awnings anti-flap kit, and even some bits and pieces like the yoga mat, some of Indy's plastic toys, but that's what it's perfect for. Now, these 2 smaller boxes, one on the left, one on the right, they're actually for gas storage. We only use one 8.5 kilo bottles lasting us pretty well a couple of months at a time. We're happy with that. If you need 2, you've got space for 2. But what I realized is once you have a gas bottle in there, it's really hard to stack and use up all the rest of the space, seeing as you're putting a circular bottle into a square shape, right? You have all these corners that are really hard to use for anything without it being awkward and annoying. So on the left hand side, we've actually used that to store our wheel chocks, the small axe for the firewood, and some other tools, and even some solvents like the degreaser, WD-40, the contact cleaner that I have for all of our electrical connections, that type of thing. So it's all just kind of like industrial stuff all jammed into one thing, just in case any of those bottles ever leak or whatever. It's sealed away in its own little container, and we don't have to worry about it contaminating anything else. So in the middle there, we've got a few spare parts, meaning more so the electrical stuff. We haven't carried a lot of spare parts with us, but I do have some spare wheel bearings for the van. But other than that, it is just some tools, some spare parts, firewood, some of Indy's toys that we don't get out every day and that are a bit more bulky, like her little bike, and also the diesel heater's diesel tank. It's a bit of a dicky spot to try and fill it up, but it's tucked away nice and neat. I do kind of like that.
So that's it for the storage outside. Let's head inside and check out the storage inside. We're going to talk about all the storage, because I know when I looked at this van and then we bought the van, I was searching and YouTubing so much for anyone who had this van to show me all the storage and bits and bobs, because you see it in the showroom once, but then it's months before you see it again and you totally forget it. And I know as a woman, I really wanted to try and plan ahead of what goes where, how much am I going to need where, what storage boxes I'm going to need where, you know. So that's why I wanted to create this video, because it's the exact video that I wish I had when I bought this van as well. So this is all my clothes and skincare and bits and bobs. I've got 2 little containers that I got off Temu for socks and undies and stuff. And honestly, I reckon I could go down to 1 of these. So the reason why I use boxes is because you can actually stack all your stuff so much better and you can fit a lot more stuff, which is handy as a woman. Using fabric boxes and containers is so much better because it doesn't leave any marks and rub marks on the inside of your van walls at all, because when you're traveling it's going to be constantly jiggling around. So this leaves no damage, as well as all your stuff inside it is totally fine. Also, it's light, and being in a caravan, everything as light as possible is a win. And that's why with the mirror, it is just like a plastic cheap one. It's not glass, it's not heavy. I've got a little cane basket from Kmart that fits perfectly in here. I totally winged all this. This is all stuff that I just had when we sold our house, all these storage baskets. So I've just got some skincare and bits and bobs. I've got 2 more of these big cube containers. You'll see these at Kmart, Big W, everything. And that has clothes in there, and honestly I could probably condense down to 1 again. Up the top here I've got another one of these cane baskets from Kmart, and because this area up the top, it comes quite angled because of the front of the van, so this fits in perfectly right on the edge, so I can still shut the door. And behind it I've got my hairdryer that fits in that little nook perfectly, and then just a few books. All this stuff does not get used, so I'm going to get rid of that when we get home. Cool little feature we did was at like a $2 shop, found this little plastic mirror and I've chucked it right there. Literally blue tack, fantastic. Blue tack works great in all the walls in here. Also got a Fusion Lock from Bunnings. It's a little lotion holder for your bathroom, and I've put it in here for my little skincare bits and bobs, deodorant and stuff, so that has been fantastic. So that's it for this cupboard. Let's check out the one below. All right, this drawer is a bit of a throw together thing. Basically, this is just for our other bits and bobs. We've got some beach towels in here, beach bag. I've got some other, like my makeup that I never use, and just another little basket of just other bits and bobs of mine. I've got some spare bags in there. Spare bags are really handy when you're staying at caravan parks and you want to take your clothes and toiletries to a shower with you. So it's really good to have a spare bag with you, and obviously a beach bag for those travel days. Because we take our towels and our beach bag out regularly, it also means we don't have to bend down, which sucks. So it's a great spot for them. This drawer, it opens up to the tunnel boot outside where our barbecue and coffee machine is. So if you have that open at night and you have the light and then you've got this, bugs are going to get in through there. So just be mindful of that, because it is, you know, there's airflow through there. So we've got 2 drawers here that open up to underneath the bed. This top drawer, we've just used as Nath's long clothes, stuff that he barely uses. When we get home, we're going to get rid of them. And then the drawer below, we've used as Indy's swimmers, shoes, other stuff that she barely uses. We can condense this a lot as well. As you can see, if you have heavy items, it's really good to chuck them in here, because when it's shut, it's quite central with the van and it's really low, so it's really good for load distribution. So you'll see this little door. At first I thought this was going to be pretty useless, but what we've done is we've chucked our shoes in here, and when we need a quick access, we just go in here, find a shoe. So it is handy for that. Now we'll lift up the bed. So in here with our shoes, we have a bag of linen. So it's just stuff that we don't need all the time, but it's still here. So we have inside access to our tunnel boot. There's a big outside access. And then these are really good spots. If you have any heavy items, you can chuck them in here because it's low and it's very central for load distribution. But we don't really have many heavy items, so that's why we've chucked shoes here, and it's also stuff that we don't use very often. So up here we've got these 2 compartments, and obviously we've used them for clothes that we don't really use as much. This is all Nath's clothes. He gets this tiny little compartment. Over here is winter stuff that when we get home we're going to get rid of, so jumpers, Nath's jumpers, big jackets, stuff like that. And one thing we have noticed is that in those sort of places we've gotten condensation as well, so keep an eye on that. Check your clothes regularly that there's no mold in there. So this top drawer, I've kind of like recreated what your 3rd drawer in your house looks like, where it's just full of random stuff, because nothing else we had really would fit in there. It made it a little bit useless. It would only fit maybe 2 cups, so I use this as all the little small stuff. 2nd drawer. This is where I've put all our cups. Because it's quite a high drawer, I could stack the cups on top of each other. And I've gotten these heat pads. You can get them from Kmart or $2 shops or something, and I put them in between my ceramic mugs just to protect them a bit when it's bouncing around in the van. And I've just got normal cups and a Yeti cup or two, and that's literally it. It's just a cup drawer. So this bottom one's a bit of an awkward one because it's got gas lines and wiring all through there. You've got the wheel arch as well, so it just makes it really awkward to fit anything in there properly. So what we've done is just literally thrown all our Woolies bags in there. We've got some freezer bags and my little garbage bin bags as well. It's kind of just little soft things that I can squish in there. That's just what I've done. Nothing phenomenal. So in this one up the top, I just fit 4 plates, 2 different sizes up in top there, and it's just under the sink, so I can fit them just up in there. And I've got my Glad Wrap, alfoils, baking paper, sandwich bags all squished up in there. It's quite a long area here, which is handy. Got bowls, extra meal prep containers, and I've got 2 of these little things. I got these from Big W and they fit in there perfectly. Just measure it before you go buy them just in case, but they fit in there perfectly. And I've got all these little clips. Indy likes to take them in and out, so that's fun. But in the bottom of every shelf, I've done this, which you can get Kmart, Big W, and it just helps with stopping anything rubbing around, moving, breaking each other, as well as rubbing on the walls and creating marks. So I've just cut that to size and shoved it in there, and it's great. It's worked really well so far. We haven't had any breakages at all. And then down the bottom, you do have a little bit of room, but it's just more gas lines. You've got wheel arch, so I've just squished a few little things that I won't use as often. That's been plenty of room for us. I'll honestly probably get rid of half of this stuff when we get home. So up the top, what I've done is our light stuff. I've got 2 storage containers. This one, I've got all our meal prep containers. Got a few different sizes. It was really hard to cull these, but this fits really well, and it's definitely more than enough. Also, I've put the things up here that Indy shouldn't have access to. So I've got insect repellent, cleaning stuff, cleaning alcohols, and it fits perfectly. There's also a little lip just inside all of these, so nothing can slide out, which is really good. So what's really cool is that these little storage compartments come standard with the van, and we've got them all around the van, which is so handy. But up here we just store sunnies, remotes, and when we've got our Starlink hooked on the roof, we have the cord coiled up in here, so it's up out of the way. It's a really handy little compartment. So up here above the dining table and lounge, we've got 2 little compartments. They're really good for your light stuff. Other than for load distribution, it's always so well if these cabinets and locks fail and everything falls out because you're on corrugations or something like that, at least it's not going to be too much damage because you've got your light stuff up above. So up here we've got a snake bite first aid kit. We've got all of our electronics, like a bag of cords and some little tripods, speakers, little things that we don't want Indy access to. So up here we've just got the first aid kit that's got all our medicines, Panadol, all that sort of stuff that we don't want Indy access to. And then just like Indy's blue book, the Starlink bag, and just other light things. Also, I have noticed that you get quite a lot of condensation up in the back there, so I have chucked one of those condensation boxes, and it has helped quite a lot. You don't want, if you've got electronics up there, you don't want condensation up in there, so keep an eye on that. I've only had it in there for 2 weeks, and you can see how much water is already in there. Yuck, as Indy says. Here in the corner, you have kind of this awkward little shelf that it's not really much purpose for it other than, like, I know, maybe like chuck a torch in there so it's quick access from when you're outside, or air guard and stuff like that. But we have a young baby that's going to want to grab all that. But one thing that we are going to do when we get home is get like some netting and put some netting in there so that we can chuck a few things in there and, you know, they're not going to fall out in travel. But I mean, with a kid it probably won't last in there anyway. So I've got this other drawer under the lounge that's just got like Nate's laptop and some paperwork and stuff for the van and instructions and stuff. And I've actually seen people convert this to a drawer freezer, which is very cool. But now we've got under the lounge. So I'll lift this up so you can see, but whenever I go to access this, I can easily just lift up from underneath. I don't need to take this whole thing out, but we'll take it out so you guys can see. So we've got this huge bit of storage, and this is a really good spot to put all your heavy stuff because it is low in the van, so really good for load distribution. So we have also things that you don't need as often. So I've got all my long life milks, I've got my toilet paper, stuff for our water filters and coffee machine cleaning, coffee beans, the stuff that we don't really use that often, and all the heavy stuff as well. So that's a really good spot for that. Now we're in the pantry area. I've had a lot of questions about how we store our food. Up the top here, it's kind of a useless but useful cabinet because it's a little tablet with this touch screen that shows all our levels of our power and water and everything, so it's very handy. Got our radio up here too, and you can also connect to Bluetooth and put your own music on because obviously the speakers all throughout the van and outside. You got diesel heater, you got your hot water, and you got your aircon switches as well. See, we've got this big fridge and it is huge. It's more than enough for us, so 2 adults and a baby, more than enough. So down the bottom we've got this little dicky drawer. I've just put something in here that I don't use as often. It's my laptop. It's in a padded bag, so it's safe in there. I didn't want to put it up high, whereas if the door fails on conglomerations, it's not going to fall out and smash to bits. So it's just down there and it's hidden from babies. So down here too, you have another one of these little drawers, and it's kind of another little dicky space. So all we've done is we've just shoved a little vacuum. We have a little Kick-Ass vacuum. Shout out to Kick-Ass. And we just shoved that in there because it's low, it's easy for us to get to, and it's kind of the only space that needed to be filled. Now we've got 3 drawers full of pantry food. Down the bottom, what I've done is just filled it with indie snacks, bits and bobs. And also in the bottom of each drawer, I've done the same anti-slip matting as well. Second drawer, I've just got another mix. There's no certain order to everything. I've just thrown in a mix of bits and bobs. Same with this one, because they're quite long drawers, which is great. So a lot of your condiments like peanut butter and jams and honeys and stuff fit perfectly in there. Now this one, this is a big one, and this is a disaster at the moment. What I've done is I've just got a heap of these containers that I had in our house, in our pantry, and I've just shoved them in there on top of this little plastic drawer that I just got from Kmart, and it's just got a lot of like cooking, baking stuff. What I do want to do is put some netting across here, not another shelf, just some netting to put some light stuff like chips and breads and stuff like that, just to create another shelf, because it feels like such wasted space, but we can fit a lot in there with all these storage containers. And then up above us, I put stuff up here that we won't use as often. It's got my supplements, an extra drink bottle, some shakers, and it's quite a deep cupboard as well, so it's quite handy. So one quick thing, when we looked at this particular van, the Ceduna 17, in the showroom, there was a few things that were quite different to when we actually picked it up, but they were good things, I promise. When we picked up the van, this was a new thing. This wasn't in the showroom, and it's great. It's got 5 hooks that you can stow away. They're very, very handy when you've got stuff that need to dry inside. Also, another thing was this padded sleeve was actually, there was one over here on the showroom as well, but they've put it here instead. And I actually like it here a bit better because then baby doesn't have access to it. So I'm sure you know, we only have one baby, so we've done both these drawers as her clothes. I've kept it real simple as top clothes winter, bottom clothes summer. Probably going to get rid of all of these when we get home. Just to keep in mind, they're quite short drawers. Yes, they're wide, but they're quite short. And also from an outside compartment, if that's open and there's a light on in there at night, bugs can actually get through into the back of these clothes. So just keep that in mind. You can just shut that up and then it's fine, it's all protected, but just keep that in mind that your clothes are kind of open there. So this, we've done the bottom bunk as indies, and a great thing is that all the van, what I love the most is that all the vans come with this crib mesh. Amazing. But I only discovered this storage hack about a week ago, and it's the best lifesaver ever. So what I did was lift up, I was changing her sheets, and I lifted up her mattress, and there's a huge compartment under here. If I open it up, it's actually quite deep and very long, which is so handy. So I've put our stuff that we don't need access to very often, but it's stuff that we would like to have with us. I've chucked a lot of light things up in here, like spare nappies, and Indy's little lounge, she's got floaties and stuff, just so, and spare linen, I've chucked that right up the back because it's light, it's up high, and it's not going to cause any dramas with low distribution. But yeah, also you've got the ladder, which I do recommend keeping it, even if you don't think you'll ever use it. Keep it in there because we've actually used it quite a lot for a lot of other things. Another quick thing I wanted to touch on was the quick thing that I do inside to prepare it for towing. And I've obviously got this little chopping board here that I just got from Big W. I got this inspiration of someone else in the Ezytrail Facebook group, so shout out to that person. And it's got this little lip. It's fantastic. We use it all the time. But what I'll do is I'll shove this on the bed. You can take this TV off. I'll take the TV off, throw it on the bed. So another thing I take out is this glass plate from the microwave. I wouldn't have even thought to check this, but I watched a YouTube, someone mentioned it. So I take this out, I shove it on the bed as well. I'll put pillows around if I need to, but you don't want that flying out if the microwave door breaks, smashing everywhere. It's just a nightmare. So I take that out as well. Even if you're not on corrugations, you just go on a tar road and you think it's going to be, you know, not bumpy, do use this little lip. It doesn't feel like it's going to do much, but at least you know you got peace of mind that you're not going to come in your door and there's going to be all your food everywhere. In the bathroom, we'll start at the top. We've got a little compartment up here that we've just put really light things. We've just got some toilet paper, baby wipes, and then my hairbrushes. Anything light, in case the latches fall open in corrugations, it's only toilet paper, they're not going to do any damage. Another thing that wasn't in this van in the showroom were these things. At first I had no idea what they were, but they're just for towels. And at first I thought, they're not going to be very useful, but they're actually fantastic. And there's another one in the kitchen area as well. So down here under the sink, surprisingly quite a lot of room. We've got all of our bathroom stuff, toothbrush, nice shaving gear, other skincare products, laundry stuff, and then any leftover kind of bathroom random stuff that you would have for cleaning, and some hair products and a lint roller, whether you'll ever use one. Spray bottles. So yeah, it's quite deep. You can see how big this area is. It goes quite deep in around the corner. So we had this little tray already. It was just something from the shed. But these things that you can get in Kmart are really, really great because they kind of mold to wherever you shove them. And same thing, they're not going to rub anywhere and cause any damage on any of the walls. And it kind of protects everything that's in there as well, you know, if you have any glass bottles. So it's a really great, decent sized little bathroom vanity there. Quick other little thing that we've done is chucked in a heap of fusion locks. We've got 4 shower hook fusion locks just from Bunnings, and they're fantastic. They're just our towels. I haven't come up with a great laundry solution. This is all I've got. I got this off Temu. But I will have to upgrade that to something better, maybe with a waterproof base or something to chuck in there. But this is up here on the way and I really like it. So the other thing is that this bathroom floor is kind of like a dicky shape, and it's really hard to get a bathroom floor mat. I actually got this from my house and it was an absolute fluke. It was the only one they had, and it's the only size that I've seen that kind of fits this area. So another quick thing to prepare for towing is making sure you shut your toilet. You got your little lever to shut it. Make sure you shut it before travel. The only other things that I prepare for travel is in the bathroom, anything on the walls I'll take down. Toilet roll, put that somewhere, not on the roll because it'll just roll all the way off. Very annoying. Anything on the ground, have a little pop-up bath that I got from Kmart, and I just half open it up, put it on the ground in there, and anything loose, chuck it in there so it's not rolling around, and it fits perfectly in behind the toilet.
Well, that pretty much wraps up this video, but if you want to see some more videos on where we've actually managed to get this Ceduna 17, it's gone all the way through Outback Queensland. It's hit over 1,000 kilometres in dirt road, and it's held up really, really well. There's been a few little things, and it might be good to see those types of things as well, just so that you can be as prepared as possible when you're planning your trips. We'd love to see some love on those videos. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if that's something that you're into. In doing so, that really supports the channel, and it will help us to continue to make these videos to hopefully help you guys as much as possible, and also have as much fun with this adventure that we're on, and hopefully we'll see you out there one day.